just can't avoid talking about length. Hand in her face, drains it anyway.
ESPN just dropped their 2025 WNBA rankings, and I'm still picking my jaw up off the floor. Caitlin Clark landed at number 2 overall, while Angel Reese, who many called her equal rival, fell all the way to 12th place. That's not just a gap, that's a canyon between them. Remember all those heated debates about who was better? All those side-by-side comparisons? Well, ESPN just settled it in the most brutal way possible. The same network that once seemed hesitant to fully embrace Clark's talent is now ranking her near the top, while Reese isn't even in the top 10. Let's break down what this means and why this ranking is sending shockwaves through the WNBA world. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Why does Angel Reese hate Caitlin Clark so much? Ever since Caitlin Clark has joined the WNBA, Angel Reese has been crazy jealous of the attention that Caitlin has gotten. But their beef doesn't start there and goes back all the way to college. A few games prior to the national championship, Caitlin Clark did the "you can't see me" celebration, but with no ill intent, and did it towards her strength coach. But in the final, between Iowa and LSU, Angel Reese decided to do this celebration to mock Caitlin Clark. What's more, as LSU won, Angel repeatedly mocked Caitlin by pointing to her finger to signal that she has a ring, whereas Caitlin doesn't. But the one-sided beef did not end there. When the Indiana Fever, the team Caitlin is on, faced off against the Chicago Sky, Chennedy Carter literally tackled Caitlin Clark. And what did Angel do? Yep, that's right, she celebrated. But here's the funniest part of it all. Angel claims her hate is made up by the media, who is portraying her as the villain. All the while, Caitlin Clark hasn't even acknowledged her. Now, back to the video. Remember that whole Reese versus Clark narrative that was shoved down our throats before the season? Well, ESPN just came through with a reality check that has everyone talking. Their 2025 WNBA player rankings dropped a truth bomb that nobody saw coming. Caitlin Clark ranked number 2 overall, while Angel Reese sits way down at number 12. That's not just a small gap between supposed rivals. That's a whole canyon of difference that says everything about where these two players actually stand. Just take a moment to process this. Clark isn't just ranked a little higher, she's considered elite, top tier, cream of the crop. Meanwhile, Reese couldn't even crack the top 10. 10 whole spots separate them. This isn't what we were promised when all those preseason comparisons were flying around, painting them as neck-and-neck competitors who would battle for rookie supremacy all year. What makes this even more fascinating is how ESPN's stance on Clark has evolved. Early in the season, they seemed almost reluctant to fully embrace the Clark phenomenon, like they were waiting to see if her college success would actually translate to the pros. Now, they've placed her second only to Aja Wilson in their rankings. That's not just recognition, that's a complete acknowledgement that Caitlin Clark has already established herself as one of the league's absolute best players in just her rookie season. And can you blame them? Clark's rookie campaign reads like something out of a basketball fantasy. She's not just performing well, she's redefining what it means to be a superstar in sports. Those aren't my words, that's straight from ESPN's justification. She's breaking records left and right, launching logo threes that make defenders look like they're stuck in slow motion, and packing arenas wherever she goes. Clark isn't just a great player, she's become the needle for the entire WNBA, driving viewership numbers through the roof every time she steps on the court. On the flip side, Reese's season tells a completely different story. What started with so much hype and expectation has devolved into missed shots, lackluster defense, and an offensive bag that's emptier than a vending machine after midnight. Harsh words, but the numbers don't lie. Her shooting has been described as shy, unreliable, and nowhere to be found when it matters most. The development that many expected from her offensive game just hasn't materialized, and in some aspects, she may have actually regressed from her college form. The reaction to these rankings has been fascinating to watch. The same fans who were loudly proclaiming Reese would outshine Clark before the season have suddenly gone quiet. It's almost like they're processing a truth that's become impossible to deny as the season has unfolded. The rankings didn't create this gap between the players. They simply confirmed what anyone watching closely has already seen. Caitlin Clark is her, and Angel Reese is just there. Can you imagine what must be going through Angel's mind seeing these rankings? To go from being constantly mentioned in the same breath as Clark to being ranked 10 spots lower has got to sting. How do you mentally process that kind of public assessment of your value as a player? We'll get into her actual reaction in a bit, but the psychological impact of such a dramatic ranking difference can't be overstated. So how did Clark pull off this incredible feat of ranking number 2 as a rookie? It's simple. She completely rewrote what a rookie season in the WNBA could look like. She didn't just meet the high expectations placed on her, she shattered them. While most rookies are just trying to find their footing in the league, Clark is already being recognized as one of its defining stars. The gap between her and Reese isn't static either. It's actively growing, with Clark ascending while Reese struggles to find consistency. That widening performance gap just got officially recognized, and Angel's reaction, let's just say it wasn't exactly graceful. You know what's crazy about this whole situation? The WNBA spent months force-feeding us this epic rivalry narrative, but all it took was one ranking to expose the uncomfortable truth everyone's been dancing around, and Reese's reaction speaks volumes about how much that truth hurts. When those ESPN rankings dropped, we didn't just see disappointment. We witnessed what the creator called a full-on meltdown mode from Reese. Remember when she was being positioned as the face of women's basketball? Now she's watching from outside the top 10 while Clark sits near the throne. This wasn't just a minor setback, it was the public acknowledgement of a reality that's been building all season. The contrast between preseason expectations and current reality couldn't be more stark. Before a single game was played, pundits were hyping Reese as Clark's equal, sometimes even her superior. The narrative was everywhere. Two fierce competitors who would push each other to greatness while lifting the entire league. It made for great headlines, amazing social media engagement, and plenty of preseason ticket sales. Even the WNBA commissioner jumped on board, comparing Clark and Reese to Magic Johnson and Larry Bird from their 1979 rookie season. That's not a casual comparison, that's invoking the most legendary rivalry in basketball history. As one creator pointed out, the one thing I know about sports, you need rivalry. That's what makes people watch. They want to watch games of consequence between rivals. They don't want everybody being nice to one another. The marketing machine was working overtime to establish this narrative, but you can only manufacture a rivalry for so long before reality crashes the party, and that's exactly what happened this season. While the media was busy setting up the next great WNBA rivalry, actual games were being played. The results? They told a completely different story. You want evidence? Just look at that clip of Reese in a 3-on-3 game. She strips the ball from a player and runs down the court with it, but instead of taking it to the hoop herself, she passes it off to a teammate. Why? Because as the season has shown, her offensive skills are severely limited. The creator didn't mince words, describing Reese's offensive capabilities as emptier than a vend machine after midnight. That's not rival material, that's a player still figuring out the basics. Meanwhile, Clark's been breaking records, changing how teams defend, and forcing the entire league to adapt to her presence. The gap that ESPN's rankings highlighted didn't come out of nowhere. It's been visible in real time throughout the season. Fans who bought into the rivalry at first have gradually shifted their perspective as the evidence mounted. That initial "who's better" debate has transformed into "wow, these two aren't even playing the same game." What we're witnessing isn't just the death of a manufactured rivalry. Well, it's a case study in how marketing narratives crash when they meet reality. The league desperately wanted its Magic Bird moment, but what they got instead was a clear-cut case of one generational talent and one solid role player who's still developing. The rankings didn't create this gap, they just made it official. Reese's struggles aren't just opinion either, they're evident in the details. Her shooting remains inconsistent, her defense gives what was described as stat padding energy, and there are fundamental aspects of her game that need serious development. Instead of focusing on improving these areas, the hype train has left the station a long time ago, and Reese is still trying to buy a ticket. The hard truth: this rivalry was never real. It was crafted in marketing meetings, pushed by media coverage, and sold to fans through carefully curated narratives. But basketball isn't played in press releases or social media posts, it's played on the court. And on the court, the gap between Clark and Reese has only widened with each passing game. ESPN's rankings didn't start this conversation. They just confirmed what basketball fans with eyes have been seeing all season. Clark isn't just better than Reese, she's in an entirely different stratosphere as a player. The sooner Reese recognizes this and focuses on her own development rather than living up to an impossible comparison, the better her career will be.